What's up, everybody? We're back. Episode 11 of 15 Beers on a Tuesday afternoon. We got my co-host. I should turn a light on in here, but we got our co-host, Uno the Pooch, over here on the couch. Let me turn the light on. We'll see the dogs. I got up to turn the light on, and she thought we were leaving. It's fucking hot as balls down here. She wants to go back to the air conditioning. So we just talked to Pat Harrington from Geezer. That was pretty awesome. Our second riff lord of the day is John Bryan from Dead Empire's Wall of Ego. Cove Road. It's the first band that I met him in. So we'll talk about all that. Let's give him a call. Hello? Hello?
Dude.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing okay. What's
Nice.
going on?
Not bad, man. Just hanging around, talking to some riff lords, you know? Typical
As you do.
As you do. Typical Tuesday shit. How about you, man? You just getting off work?
No, Tuesdays actually are fortunately my day off, so it's the day that I reserve specifically for riffing
Okay.
as a riff lord.
Oh, fuck yeah. Would you have a band practice today, or are you just riffing on your own?
Today it's actually just me on my own. That's the one good thing I think I've gotten out of the whole quarantine thing is I've got a reasonably decent home like recording and practicing setup.
Yeah.
And have been just messing around a lot, recording a lot, trying out new stuff, and
Nice. Are you playing to drum machines, or what are you doing? You just...
a lot of it is me kind of just trying to collect ideas,
Okay.
and then like you just played a Wall of Ego song, but
Yeah.
we actually had kind of started recording like right as kind of quarantine, before the world exploded,
Yeah,
like right as that
absolutely.
was happening. We had just kind of started that, and we kind of took a break for 2 months or so, but we just kind of got into that. So I've been working with them, cutting tracks, trying to lay down some stuff.
Nice.
We try to do it as much as we can DIY. So
Okay, yeah. So you're doing your own recordings?
yeah.
What programs are you, like, DAWs, are you using?
Well, I bought a interface that's made by this company called PreSonus.
Yeah, I have the audio box is what I'm running through right now.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, I have an 8-channel one and
Oh,
have
fuck
gotten like surprisingly good recordings out of it.
Yeah, I bet. Huh.
Yeah, in our old practice space, in fact, we used to we basically had it set up so that pretty much anyone we shared the space with a couple of the bands. I don't know if anyone ever actually
Mm-hmm.
took me up on this, but basically it was set up so you could just bring a laptop and if
USB
you had,
right in, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
if you had your template saved, you just plug in and you get like a decent quality recording every practice.
Wow.
So,
That's amazing, yeah. So the 8-channel one, what'd that run you? Is that like $500 in that neighborhood? A little more?
I bought a used one on Reverb,
Okay.
and I think I spent a very merciful $200 on it.
Oh shit! Wow, my 2-channel was 100. So fuck, you did good on that one, man.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I had the 4-channel one for years, and I used to use that. And I actually would use that for podcasting and things like that. But we started taking around with it for demoing for bands and such. And in fact, the Wall of Ego EP we recorded in our practice space.
Oh, nice! It sounds great.
Well, thank you. Well, I have to do truthfully give most of the credit to our buddy Tom Bonasco, who has a studio down in Brooklyn called Mang Studios.
Okay.
And kind of the way we did it was the way that I look at it is I just tried to get like decent enough sounding takes, like decent enough sounding for each thing. And I actually just emailed him all of our stems, and he reamped everything and
Gotcha.
made it sound surprisingly good. So shout out to him and thank you to him, and that's what you were listening to a couple minutes ago with that Wall of Ego.
Nice. Are you using Studio One? Is that the PreSonus like digital
Correct.
audio work? Okay, yeah. Because that's what it seems like. A lot of the plugins weren't so great, so it seems like maybe taking it from that into like Audacity or having someone else just do that for you seems like that might be beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get too heavy into it. You know, like I said, I mainly use it for like what I would consider like demo quality recordings, and I think it does that aspect. I think it does very well.
Yeah.
And actually, they just put out an update. Oh man, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. They just did like a big overhaul of the whole thing, and they have a new like amp modeling thing that is surprisingly good.
Okay.
You know, for being thrown into a bundle with with some software, like it's a surprisingly good amp model. So I've been very happy with it.
That's the last time we recorded. I think the last Red Necromancer album we recorded at Nada, and he was fucking around with that, like it's like a head that just can copy sounds from other heads.
Yeah, exactly.
That was insane. I don't know. I don't know. This crazy world.
Dude, it's a brave new world on these things, and like I tend to be very much more of like an old school guy. Just give me like a loud tube amp, like that's what works for me. But over the course of this quarantine, like I said, I've been messing around with different amp modeling things and recording things, and man, it's intense.
There is no end to it. If you don't want an end to it, there is no end to it. It seems.
Exactly. It's wild. So.
I just inherited a pedal board, and I don't even know what the fuck is going on. You know, like I can't unplug anything because I don't know how to plug it back in. It's all I don't know. It's a whole weird setup thing going on here. But it's through that and a solid state crate amp that I was also inherited. So I've been like fucking around with those, and I just have no idea where to begin. It's got the weird Yamaha thing on. I think it's kind of like the earlier version of the Line 6, where it's just like a Yamaha pedal that has all the effects that you could want, but none of them are really the way you want them to be, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know. I've been messing around with that. So pedal board-wise, how do you like... How long did it take you to put your pedal board set up together? It's got to be years, a year long.
Oh, man. That's a big question, because I would say, like, the thing I love the most, truthfully, is just guitar pedals. That's like my favorite thing to collect and to mess around with. But if you have that Yamaha, you should hold it up to your cam for your live stream here so we can see it.
Let me see if I can do that.
But I had I'm always swapping things out with my pedal board, and truthfully, what I did over this quarantine is I completely took apart my Dead Empires pedal board and kind of pared it way down and built what I call my little baby board. And I actually bought like a little a pedal board that's maybe a quarter of the size of it, and I just kind of pared it down to what I think are the bare essentials, and even added like two new things to it, but kind of going for like a new philosophy with
more stripped down. Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of weird stuff. I don't know, like Ian Fuller is kind of like my go-to guy. So he told me that the power source is really good. He didn't really say anything about any of the other pedals on there.
Okay, well, if you want to have a pedal board play date someday, you just let me
absolutely.
know.
How do you even, like, if I wanted to introduce a new pedal to that, how would I even go about it? Like, I just gotta like unhook one and hook one up in its place, or
it depends on how it's set up. If you have like a pedal switcher out front, there are many schools of thought to how you can do it.
Yeah. So like if you're gonna you have your smaller setup, but you're thinking, oh, here's this new pedal that I might want to add to the mix. Where do you put it into the mix? How do you go about it? What's your process of testing a new pedal?
It would truthfully be like I would figure out, depending on what it is going to depend where it kind of falls in the pedal chain.
Gotcha.
Like, I think things definitely kind of have their places where they should be.
Okay.
So depending on.
See, I might need to know. I guess I didn't bring you on here to go through pedal board basics, but I don't know. Maybe you can write a blog post about that, or you can just tell me how that works. But
we could start a whole separate podcast that is literally just us nerding out about pedals and
Fair
orders
enough.
and shit like that.
Okay.
But it depends on where you want to put it and what it does, and you just kind of, fortunately mine is run through a pedal switcher, so kind of everything kind of runs to this bar that's on the front of my pedal board, and so I can kind of click things on and off and take them in and out.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah.
So I can swap things in and out that way, reasonably easily, and sometimes I will literally, like as I'm messing with things, I will just have it sitting off to the side, and just, it just kind of, the last cable just will run into that, and then I'll run that into my amp or something like that.
Yeah, right on. All right. So you were saying you had a much bigger setup with Dead Empires.
Yes. Yeah, I had a reasonably big board. I want to say it was something like 15 pedals.
It's like a 50-pound fucking case.
No, dude, the case alone was 50 pounds. Like I actually bought when we did our last record, Designed to Disappear. I kind of went out and I was like, you know what? Like, we're gonna go after this hard. We're really like gonna attack this record and promote like crazy and try to tour like crazy and do stuff. So I went and I bought this like super heavy duty flight case thing.
Okay.
God, I can't remember who I bought it from, but they built it custom for me for my board.
Nice.
And
wow.
It was super heavy duty. It had foam padding on the inside. It had cables that ran in and out, so like you could set it up really quick on a stage. And my thought, truthfully, was like, we're gonna go on the road a lot, and hopefully we're gonna like go to Europe and go some places far away and do some stuff like that. And I want something that literally like, I could throw it down a flight of stairs and it would be okay.
Fuck yeah. And so you put when did that album come out?
That album came out, I guess, at this point 2 years ago, 2018.
Okay. And did you guys tour a lot for that one?
We didn't. We toured a bunch in support of it. We did a couple 2-week jaunts with a couple different folks in support. I don't know if anything to warrant a humongous pedal board. But...
Yeah. But I mean, why not? I mean, if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it.
Exactly. I was trying to make things. I really wanted to approach it kind of like long term. That's kind of always how I look at things.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I try to like think forward with all my purchases. Like when I think about pedals, I do a bunch of research, and I want something that I know is going to be versatile and last me a while, and
well, there's no reason to you spend $100 to see if you like something, and then you realize you do, and then you have to spend $700. At some point, it's better just read about it and spend the $700. You know what I'm saying? You're saving yourself money by just buying the thing that's going to last you for as long as you want.
Exactly. It's kind of that philosophy of like, do something right one time.
Exactly.
Instead of fucking around with it 3 or 4 times, because then by the end of that, like, you've already spent more than you would have if you had just done it one time.
That's what not to get I guess I'm gonna get weird now, but this pedal board that I was gifted, like my biological father I haven't seen in like 33 years, since I was like 12 or 13 or something like that, and he died in February, which was not that whatever. I went through some emotions about it, obviously, but it's someone you haven't seen in 30 years. Yeah, exactly. But it's like pretty removed. Like I dealt with that years and years. My feelings about our situation years and years ago. But I just got a call like 2 weeks ago from his partner, the woman he was dating, at the time of his death. And she found me on Facebook, and she's like, "Oh, I see you're a musician." So I went and picked up all his musical equipment. Which is funny, like, because as a kid he played guitar, but he never got me a guitar or shared that with me at all. But now I have all his stuff, and it seems like his approach is like a lot of $200 guitars, and it's almost like sometimes it's the lessons that you don't learn from people that like I have one guitar, I have the acoustic Martin that I'll play till I die, and so maybe the fact that I didn't learn the lesson of let's buy a 9 $200 guitars was a better move.
Yeah.
So with Dead Empires, what's up with like? Is that on hiatus or that's just Dunzo? What's the status of that?
Uh, for now, it's pretty much Dunzo.
Yeah.
It was kind of a thing where we, without getting too deep into it,
Yeah,
it
of
was
course.
just,
Yeah.
we had always said that if it wasn't the core members, like if it wasn't the four of us, and if
Yeah.
one of us didn't want to do it anymore, then we would just say fuck it, and we would
Yeah.
just cash in and move on. Like, there's no point in replacing people.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nobody cares,
Yeah.
like we did it because we loved it and we loved what we specifically did. So we
Yeah.
said if one person didn't want to be there, then
So is
all
that
cash
like
out.
somebody's life is just busy right now and you might revisit it kind of thing, or you're not even thinking about that?
Uh, we shall see. Honestly, I mean, we put it to bed,
Yeah.
but as it goes for bands currently, we're in the, you know, w- we're in the age of nostalgia, and everybody's
Yeah.
getting back together, and everybody's
Exactly.
playing
Yeah.
shows.
So the reunion tour, it's
Yeah, who knows?
possible.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Right. We all have no ill feelings towards each other, and
Yeah. Right on. It's
it was just
funny.
a very
I was looking back for pictures of this, and I really did not remember that DJ wasn't the first bass player.
yeah.
It's just
God.
seeing the pictures, and honestly, it might have been the same amount of time before him as after. I don't know how that exactly worked out, but it's just I just don't remember the past.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny when we started the band. Like, I think we, it was we were doing stuff pretty much as a two-piece very early on, and
Yeah,
we
just you
kind of
and
like we
Phil.
were hunting for a bass player, and then we had a couple people who came in and out, but there were definitely times when we played shows as a two-piece.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was a struggle, and even still going forward now, like with Wall of Ego, we looked for a bass player for a year
yeah.
before we found somebody. It's surprisingly hard in the Hudson Valley, with what I would consider like a very rich music scene. Like,
I
we
think
found it.
Jim DeGrassi is listening or watching the podcast, and I tried to sell him on that really hard because he was right up the alley of what you're looking for, but he's
I
busy with
appreciate you.
life,
Thank you.
and whatnot. Well, for him, it was for him almost more than you, like because you guys are right in the that Jesus lizardly kind of posts, that area
Mhm.
that he enjoys a lot, that I
Yeah.
enjoy a lot too. I watched some videos on your Facebook page today, and there's a video from Dark Side Records of you guys playing with a different bass player, and was it a different drummer too?
For which band? Wall of Ego?
Wall of Ego, yeah.
No, Wall of Ego has pretty much always been myself
Yeah.
and my good friend Dan, who's our singer,
Mm-hmm.
and our buddy Steve, who's our drummer.
Okay,
And then
and it's those three, and then the bass player. Okay.
Yeah, and we had our buddy Matt playing bass for us for a while, and now we recently have been playing with our buddy John Fay, who I'm sure you know
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he plays in Elk with Jesse, who is the next guest. Actually,
That he does.
he's a busy man, that John Fay.
Oh God, seriously.
So I think what it must have been with the drummer is that the first clip of you guys I saw was with John Fay at BSP.
Okay.
Which I think might have been right after Diana's party. Like, I just missed you that day, but then I saw the video of you at BSP later, and that must have been a more drony video, drony song in that video, because the video from Dark Side, he was like going fucking off, badass. So I just thought it was a different drummer, different song, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to do. I mean, I always try to approach bands as what I call like kind of like organically. I like to see just kind of like what happens when you play with people and try to find that sound. And this one was, fortunately, we're all pretty diverse, and yeah, it's definitely a rock band as opposed to a metal band. I've been in a metal band for so many years, and this was my first attempt to say like I want to do just like a rock band. And in fact, I call it dumb rock, because it's like we're not trying to be technical, we're not trying to be fancy, we're not doing huge guitar solos or songs that are multi-layered thematic concept albums. It's like we're just dumb and fun, and that's the whole point of this band. It's just a purely 3-minute good time songs.
But I mean, you're dumb. I think is when you say dumb, I think of stuff that's a lot simpler than Wall of Ego. Like you still have that like post-punk. There's there's some tricky, there's some nuances going on in there. I don't know. I think it's
certainly. Yeah, I appreciate that. We do try to be thoughtful about our songwriting, and truthfully, most of our songs come out of we all live together. We're all in Beacon, and we're all reasonably neighbors, and we get together, and whenever like something kind of makes us laugh, we just go, all right, that's a song. Here we go, and then I'll just kind of write. I'll write some music to it, and boom, and that's how we roll.
Just all about the weird shit in Beacon. How's Beacon doing with this whole quarantine stuff?
Beacon is okay. Beacon's always been to me, a little sleepy, a little quiet. There's been, what I will say, to Beacon's credit, there has been a good amount of substantial protests in Beacon over the last couple weeks, and it's been a thing where I guess I've never been like a huge outspoken pro-Beacon person, even though I've lived here for many years, but I give Beacon credit where credit is due, and they've been I've gone to a bunch of them, and they've been great. So well done, Beacon.
Yeah, fuck yeah, nice. And you also, I think the when I was going to initially air this podcast, you were going to the Poughkeepsie rally. How was that one?
Oh right, that was on Blackout Tuesday.
Blackout Tuesday, yeah.
That's right. That was good. That was I went to the Poughkeepsie rally, and it was definitely like before I say anything, like it ended fine. Like, it ended great. There was so much crazy disinformation that was going out that there was so much like hype and people sending things out. Like I was getting messages from people that were like, yo, watch out for these guys because I heard that these neo-Nazis are starting shit, and I heard that this guy's doing this, and watch out for this. And like literally businesses on Main Street in Poughkeepsie boarded up their windows. Which, honestly, like I got a phone call, and I got a phone call from Dark Side Records, from Justin, and he called me and he was like, how do things look over there?
Yeah.
And I was
what kind of war zone are you living in? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I was like, it looks fine, man. Everything is cool. And he basically said that a business neighbor of ours down the street had kind of talked to him and was like super nervous. Like they moved a bunch of their inventory, they locked all their doors. Like they were like, we heard that some shit's gonna go down, and I was like, no shit is going down. Everybody calm down.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of hype. And like I said, in the end, it was, I think, a great rally, and also proud of Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, absolutely. It's weird because it's so hard. Like if you want to troll or cause trouble, it's so easy to write a narrative that will really get people fired up.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to get people riled to the point where they don't, no one looks at their sources. I see smart people just posting shit from like this fucking, obviously not real website, because it says it's the headline is something that they want, they want to believe in, or, it's so easy to play on people's emotions with this like social media stuff.
Yeah, Poughkeepsie was a clear case of that. Like a lot of hype, a lot of misinformation. Just people hearing things from people. I know you can't see it, but I'm doing air quotes around that.
Yeah.
And and like I said, in the end, it was like we marched. It was great. No windows were smashed.
Yeah, exactly.
Businesses were cool. The whole, so much of the city came out. People were out on their steps cheering us on. Like it was a great day.
Nice.
I think.
Well, that's the whole, I guess it's like I don't know, whatever, but, not all cops are bad. Okay, well then, one protester out of 20,000 breaks a window. One cop out of however many kills someone. Like you're equating, the people that are arguing that it's just one bad cop are, saying the protests are getting too rowdy. It's much less, it's a window. Who the fuck cares about a window? It's not a big,
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
Who knows? You used to work at Soul Dog in Poughkeepsie, right?
Wow, this is a deep dive podcast. Yes.
Let's fucking go. I don't know. I'm drinking beer, so I don't know. shit gets strange. I don't know.
All right, let's get weird, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, and in fact, that's who I went to the Poughkeepsie rally with. Was I'm still friends with the people who owned it and cooked there and ran it.
Gotcha.
And we're still friends to this day. And we went to the rally together. But
Nice.
yeah, Soul Dog was great, man. I had an amazing, wonderful, beautiful time in my life working there.
Yeah, and they were like very vegan. Were you a vegan then? How long have you been vegan for?
I've lived in Beacon on and off. Oh God.
Oh no, I said vegan.
Oh, how long have I been vegan?
Yeah.
I've been vegan, I think, 16 years.
Because Soul Dog was kind of on the cutting edge of like the veg, gluten-free. Like,
oh yeah.
I remember going there, you know, like early on from the shack. Like we'd take like little trips over there, and you know they had stuff that I was like gluten-free. What does that even mean? You know, this in I don't know what's that, like 2003 and 4. I don't know. It was before I was aware of you know gluten-free or a lot of allergies or whatever people have. You know. That wasn't really a question.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know how much they want me talking about their personal life out in public, but you know, they, but they pretty much, I should say, my take on it is, you know, they all were gluten free. Like they had a history of celiac in their family,
so
just
so they
opened it
for
as a place
people.
where they could eat.
That's great, and it is it was an awesome place. I dug it. So
now it's occupied by my buddy Pat McGuire, and it's the Poughkeepsie Grind.
Okay, like a coffee shop situation?
Exactly.
Okay.
And just a great place run by a great dude. So if you're in Poughkeepsie and you want coffee,
Poughkeepsie
Grind. An unpaid advertisement for
there you go. I work, you know, not now because it kind of shut down until 2021 probably, but I do event staff work for the Bardavon and UPAC.
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of the Bardavon, they'll have like operas in the day. So you'll get a break, but there's like every place to eat in like a 3-block radius closes at 2 o'clock on Saturdays or Sundays. So there's like not a lot of good afternoon lunch spots around there. So, you know, not saying that someone should open an afternoon lunch spot so I can eat while I'm working in the parking lot, but, you know, maybe someone think about it.
Well, that's funny because like that's a thing that's happening right now is, you know, like me and my wife, like we're talking about like trying to take vacations and trying to go away for weekends, and we sort of have this thing where we're like, what the fuck is open? Like, if we went somewhere, what would we even do? Like, and fortunately now we're like New York's, you know, starting to reopen. We're in phase 3 locally here in the Hudson Valley, but
are you the same as us in Beacon? You're the same as Kingston? Is it that's all the Hudson Valley region, or are you a different?
I believe so. I think it's Hudson Valley region. I think up to the Capital District.
Okay, gotcha.
And then obviously New York City is its own.
Yeah. I thought Westchester was different too. Like, so yeah, it's like Westchester, then us, then Capital Region.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. Don't quote me on that. But that's what I think it is.
That's what I think now here. Restaurants opened today. I think today at 50% capacity.
Correct. Yeah. Phase 3 went into effect today. And, you know, phase 2 was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Which was, you know, where I work was able to open at, we do limited capacity. Not that we're worried about reaching capacity.
Yeah.
You know, but, and restaurants were able to do like outdoor seating, which has been honestly a thing that I always loved anyway in the summer. So I kind of look at it as a
yeah, exactly.
As a perk anyway.
Yeah. That's what I've been delivering for the Anchor. And, like, they are just ripping up Broadway. You know, there's Backos and there's, you know, blah, blah, blah. And we get every day. Like, we just do window service. You know, you can't even come in anymore. We'll just hand you can order and we'll hand you the food through the window. But people are like, oh, are you opening up for outdoor seating? It's like, you just walk through 2 bulldozers. And you want to just, you want a table out there? Is that what you know, like, you're out of your fucking mind, man. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes as this, you know, if it slows down. Because I went to visit my parents yesterday, and they were asking me, you know, oh, is the Anchor opening? I was like, no. They're like, oh. I was like, you know, are you gonna go out to eat? And they're like, yeah, we might go out for lunch tomorrow. I was like, you're out of your fucking minds. I think I don't know. It's like, if you can let other people just test the water, why would you know? I don't know. If that's a crazy thing to say, but like. Maybe see how it works out for a week. You know, I don't need to go out to a diner. Like I can, you know.
I feel you 100%.
Yeah.
And in fact, my parents are both. I would say they're definitely in the high risk pool. My mom is definitely a pretty high risk pool, and they were talking about they live in Massachusetts, and they also spend time sometimes in near Providence, Rhode Island, and they sent me a picture like, oh yeah, we went out to a restaurant and are hanging out, and I'm like, guys,
What
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just stay the fuck inside. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if I can curse on this thing, but
No, of course you can. Yeah. It's a shit show.
Yeah.
Pat was just saying he went up to Western New York, like kind of on Lake Ontario with his kid to some property that his wife's parents own. It seems like that'd be the kind of thing to do now. If you could find an isolated like place with some water to go and just hang out. But then you have to hope that there's supermarkets or whatever ready for you.
Yeah, well in fact, even the venue where I got married for my wedding 2 years ago, we rented a summer camp.
Okay.
And
Oh, wow.
we had this brilliant idea where we're like, let's just throw the biggest party possible.
Fuck yeah.
And so we rented an entire summer camp so we could have like 180 people, and all the stuff that's involved with the summer camp we had access to. So there was like rifle shooting and archery and boating and fishing and arts and crafts, and we did a quote unquote. What was that?
Did you have instructors or no? You just access. They had. Wow.
Well, I should say for the things like rifle shooting, they had people there. Yes.
Yeah,
for arts and crafts, it was just a free for all.
Here's some beads. Do it. Do what you gotta do.
But even they sent an email out. Forest Lake Camp is the place, and they sent an email out where basically, obviously all camps are canceled for the summer in New York.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to figure out something else to do and to try to figure out some kind of income stream. And so they sent an email out that was like, how would people who have had weddings here, how would you feel about doing like a reunion thing here?
Fuck yeah.
And we'll give you a good rate, and you can invite, I think it said you can invite like 8 to 10 families, people you're close with, people you trust.
Yeah.
And like we'll figure, basically we'll provide some food, but you can have run of the camp. And
you just bring your own booze?
I guess. I mean, that's what we did for our wedding, so I would assume we would kind of do that as well.
That's got to save you a ton of money right there, right?
Yeah. So we're kicking around that idea of doing maybe
like an anniversary.
We were talking about doing like a 5-year reunion and calling it Camp Cinco.
Fuck yeah.
But maybe we'll do a 2-year reunion this summer and just find people who we know who have been quarantining, are safe, have been looking after themselves, and get us together and do like a good social distance hang. But if anything else, it's just something to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where you can go and there's things that are happening and you can get food. You don't have to worry about that sort of thing, and get like I think everyone right now is just clamoring so much to do anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It seems like just thinking about it, it seems like your problem would be cutting it down to 8 or however many groups of people you had to eliminate, because it seems like a lot of people would jump on that pretty quick,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like we've kind of already narrowed down, I want to say 4 or 5 groups in our heads, just, at first glance. And the second part would be talking to everybody else and seeing who.
Well, luckily only 6 people listen to this podcast, so I don't think you're gonna like, oh shit, I heard about it on this, now I want to come. But
okay, well listen, Lara, if you want to come, just shoot me a text.
Oh, you just borrowed her 12-string, right?
I did just borrow her 12-string for these. We trying to finish these Wall of Ego new songs
with a 12-string. What kind of fucking Sepultura Beneath the Remains shit are you trying to pull here?
I would say 100%.
I thought you were dumb rock.
We're going 100% the opposite of that. We wrote. Oh God, what would you call it? I guess I would call it like a
Bon Jovi
shit kicker country song. I don't know if that's
okay. Yeah, all right.
But like just like a fun kind of rockabilly influenced, really up tempo country song.
Okay.
And we've been calling it the Wall of Ego theme song.
All right.
But
nice.
It's just it's very much like fun up tempo, and I just honestly, truth be told, I don't think I've ever played a 12-string guitar before a week ago, and it was a ton of fun. And I guess is another box to check off on this whole quarantine trying new shit
there you go
list.
Have you baked any bread?
I have not baked any bread.
Okay.
I have not gotten on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
Jenny, my wife, has cooked some outstanding meals. I will say I have benefited, and I thank her profusely for the amazing meals that I've been able to take a part of. I don't think we've baked bread.
Okay.
Her mom has baked some bread that has, and she sent us pictures, and it looks amazing.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know,
Well,
I know that's a
tell Jenny
thing.
I say hello. I like her.
I will.
How's Dark Side Records? Is that you reopened on the 12th? Are you doing like online stuff before? How's your like sales breakdown work with that?
Yeah, Darkside is going. I say this with caution.
Yeah.
Darkside's going okay.
Okay. Good.
You know, like I was employed throughout the whole quarantine. You know, I was working from home full time, and we went hard on a strategy of focusing on online sales and e-commerce.
Yeah.
And we just, put 90% of our efforts into that. And the response that we got from people, not just like local folks who wanted to support the store, our regulars put a ton of orders in, and we're incredibly thankful for that. But we pushed a lot, and we got orders from all over the world.
Wow.
We, had so many people show us kindness, and it was an okay quarantine for us.
Nice.
We were able to sustain some things and to go on through.
That's amazing.
I'm trying to think of like a button to put on the end of that, but I'm thankful that it was able to sustain, and we're back open as of the 12th, and we've had a whole bunch of people come out, and the show support that we got from people was, like I said, just incredibly kind and
nice.
And surprising, but that maybe sounds negative, and I don't mean it that way,
Yeah,
but
well, I mean, I think when disaster strikes, you think everything, especially you're told like everything is going to be terrible, everything is going to go badly, and then it goes well, and so I mean, surprising's not. I don't think it's derogatory.
Yeah, and I know how much so many small businesses are struggling. Like Jenny has her own small business here in Beacon, and she also thankfully thinks we're going to weather through all this and everything's going to be okay.
Awesome.
We were talking this morning about how I feel like on Main Street in Beacon, we had a couple businesses close, but like for all the, doom and gloom that surrounded the quarantine, like I think locally we made out okay. Like, most of the businesses are still there. Everyone seems to be, while everybody's kind of pitching in, but everybody's struggling, and it looks positive. And granted, I say that everything changes weekly.
Exactly.
In the current world, so
well, Beacon always seemed like a very kind of close community where it's like everyone's kind of in with each. Like there's a community there, and I think that's good for situations like this. Like, oh, this place can only do this, so let's go get that from there because we're working from home and we have the money to do it. It's like I started delivering for the Anchor when this happened, and I think a lot of businesses in Kingston, for instance, that are maybe more successful than them, but don't have like a family type crowd or like a crowd that they're like has a loyalty to them. Started going to takeout, and they just dropped right off. But I think people were like very loyal to the Anchor, so like their business it kept them afloat, or like the fact that they have built a sense of community or family with their business helped them out tremendously during a time like this, is I think what I'm trying to say.
Certainly.
Cool.
Yeah, there was a thing even in Beacon that was called, I guess I don't know how they pronounce it, but it's we're together, or we are together, or we art together, or however you want to do it. But
some werewolf shit? What?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
But it was like Beacon, a local guy here in Beacon put it together, and it basically was they got local artists, and each artist paired with a local business and made a T-shirt design.
Oh, shit,
And they were all limited edition and all super cool, and basically it was you kind of I think the businesses got to kind of decide how they split it between the artist and the business, but it was just kind of a way of people just coming together and doing stuff to kind of all support each other.
That's awesome.
And that's exactly like the Beacon mentality right there.
Yeah, I think I saw the Beacon Bread Company version, the shirt from that. I think Diana posted.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, yeah, Jenny had one. She got this amazing artist, Tara McPherson, and did a shirt for her. And
fuck yeah.
Just there's some cool shit in there.
Yes,
So,
that's awesome.
again, kudos Beacon.
So I think we're gonna wrap this up with the beginning. we're gonna bring it back. You want to go deep dive? But I first met you while I was running the taco shack, and you would order two bean burritos with no cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd order them as Raul.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'd be like, everybody was like, that doesn't really look like a Raul. Whatever. It is what it is. But then Tiger Piss played a show with Cove Road at the Firebird Lounge in Rhinebeck.
Wow.
I remember talking to you then, like, yo, is your name Raul? You were like, hey, I'm John. Like, what the fuck, Raul? And you do that because you're ordering vegan burritos, and it's an unusual name. And that way you'll get it, the cook will remember Raul 2 bean burritos. Right? That's your intention behind that?
That's 100% correct. Yes.
It has saved you from getting cheese like dozens of times. You've still probably gotten cheese sometimes, but like there have been times where we have a new counter girl and I see Raul 2 bean burritos and I'm like, I know that it's not cheese. So I just you just like circumvent the counter girl and don't put cheese in it. Do you do that with other restaurants too?
At the time, I did. Yes, Raul was my takeout food name.
Oh, it was just, and that was the name for. I was hoping you had different ones for all of them, but okay.
I never really gave it that much thought to create all the. I can only keep so many alter egos.
Yeah, I got you.
In my head.
Yeah.
But even oh god, the guy who owns Karma Road, Seth.
Okay.
I think is his name. I happened to see him. God, I want to say it was like a couple of years later. I had moved out of New Paltz and I was back in town doing something, and he was at a restaurant eating dinner with a couple people, and he was like, "Raul, come on over!" and I had to sit down and be like, "Yeah, my name's not Raul. I'm really." I really just want to. I'm sorry.
But they're vegan, right? What were you worried about with them? Like, what were they gonna fuck up?
Again, I just had a thing going.
You ordered the same thing every time.
Look, everybody remembers Raul. Okay?
Yeah, no, they definitely.
Everybody remembers him.
Okay. So if it's the normal Raul order just slightly off because the counter person took it wrong, then you think that the people will correct. Yeah, and you were definitely right at the Taco Shack. Very, very much. Like, that definitely saved you from a lot of cheese experiences.
Yeah.
All right.
And also just, I don't know, I always try to have fun with these. I think it just started out trying to have fun.
Yeah.
The bottom line.
Absolutely.
And anytime you can kind of go for a laugh or do something that's just kind of ridiculous and, harmless, you just life is short, do some silly shit.
But for me, the Raul thing is kind of like the green M&Ms with the Van Halen. Like, it's like, it makes sense when you think about it. I thought it was ridiculous. It's kind of weird this guy's doing. But then, like, if you've ever seen the interviews with that, where, like, David Lee Roth is like, well, we had a, like, 100,000-pound stage show that needed a certain amount, the weight needed to hold, the stage needed to hold a bunch of weight. Like, there were a bunch of things, like, on that tour, because it was fucking huge, that were in the rider that needed to be met, otherwise it wouldn't be safe. So they put that in there, so if there were, like, green M&Ms, they'd be like, the guys didn't read the rider. It's like, it sounds like they're being dicks, but it's like a test. You walk in, you see there's green M&Ms, let's go see if they've, like, checked out the important stuff,
Sure.
So I don't know. Let's see if there's cheese in this burrito.
Classic David Lee Roth power move.
Yeah, you got to do it. All right, bud. Well, I'm going to let you go. I love you. You said you're doing some new Wall of Ego recording. When should we expect that?
Oh, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
It's as like, the conversation we've also been having is, like, what the fuck is the music industry going to even look like in the next 6 months? What are shows going to be? So we're taking our time. We're trying to do stuff and crank it out. But I'll post stuff you can follow Wall of Ego on the Bandcamp or the Facebook. This is my shameless plug.
Yeah, get it, man.
And you can also, I actually just started recently playing with another band called Manu, who you can also go check out.
How do you?
Also another great kind of rock band.
How do you spell that? Manu.
MANU. Manu.
Oh, all right. Well, I think me and Pat were actually talking about that earlier, about how hopefully this whole quarantine experience is gonna have a lot of people that are you have a lot of bands that are like can play something and make money and do shows like jam bands or whatever it is. But during this experience, it's like you're not making money playing whatever. It's a good time for people to just make what they want to make for the sake of it. So I think you might get a lot of cool art out of this because of that.
Yeah, certainly. And as far as what the industry will look like,
who knows?
We'll
I mean, but none of us are gonna be rock stars anyway. So what the fuck do we care? We're not. It's not like Wall of Ego isn't gonna. I mean, or maybe they will, but you're not looking to make a career on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I always said the music industry. Actually, I should say my buddy Justin said a very wise thing, which is he said the music industry is like an ecosystem, and that there's room for everybody in it. And so that's what's going to be curious to see how that all kind of shapes stuff going forward.
Right
I mean, I'm still going to play rock tunes. I miss my amp. I can't wait to play loud in front of people again. And as soon as it's safe, as long as venues will let us do our dumb shit on stage, we're gonna. So
I can't wait to see it. All right, bud. Well, I
cool,
love
man.
you. It was great talking to you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Later days.
Yep.
All right, John Bryan from Dead Empires, Wall of Ego, and Manu now also works at Dark Side Records. It was a fun interview. We're going to play his old band, Dead Empires, while I go pee. Luna's going to find me upstairs. She shouldn't, but can't teach an old dog new tricks. And then we're going to talk to Jesse Cunningham from a bunch of bands.